Hey guys, it's March 26th, Lincoln's birthday. So if there's a card you want to send or a video saying happy birthday, it'd be cool if you uploaded that in Google Classroom. Today we're going to start with 9-4, part 2. So we're continuing with what we did yesterday, no warm-up. We're solving by completing the square. Today you're going to need a calculator. If you don't have one handy, your phone should work. You're going to want to turn your phone calculator this way so it has more options because we're going to be using the square root button. All right, so keeping in mind yesterday, we want to focus on this first part. So we're going to move the 14 over. And we're left with x squared minus 2x equals 14. We have a negative 2 in the middle that we're going to divide by 2. That's negative 1. That's what's going to go inside our parentheses. And then we're going to square it to find out what goes into the problem. Remembering that twin rule. When we combine them, we get 15. Okay, so if we were to simplify this, we have x minus 1 squared equals 15. Here's where you'll need your calculator. 15 is not a perfect square, but it can be cut in half. So go ahead and use your calculators. You should get plus or minus 3.87. Let's go 2 decimal places, whether it stops or if it needs to be rounded, we'll go to the hundredth spot. From here, we need to get the variable alone. So we're going to write that like 1 plus or minus 3.87. And then for our case 1 and case 2, we will solve. So x is equal to, for the first one, 1 plus 3.87. And for our case 2, x is equal to 1 minus 3.87. So x is equal to the set of 4.87 or negative 2.87. So today we're going to be working with non-whole numbers, okay, decimals mostly. We're also going to be working with numbers that have coefficients. So let's say we have 5x squared minus 10x equals 23. So yesterday we said when we were squaring or halving this, it doesn't work when there's a number here. And so we need to get rid of it. For a term, we don't want a coefficient there. We just want x squared. So in this case, we're going to have to divide everything by 5. And that leaves us with x squared minus 10x equals, using that calculator, we don't want fractions, 4.6. Oh, 2. Sorry guys, 2. Right, 10 divided by 5 is 2. Okay, now we take our negative 2 and we half that like we did yesterday. We follow the rules or the steps that we made. That's going to give us a negative 1, which means we're going to have x minus 1, x minus 1. We take our -1 and we square it. That's the number we put back in the fraction, or into our equation. When we simplify, we have x minus 1 squared and 5.6 on the right. When we square root it, we get x minus 1 and 2.37 rounded. So we get x is equal to 1 plus or minus 2.37. So for our case 1, we have 1 x equals 1 plus 2.37. And for C2, x equals 1 minus 2.37. And for our answer, we have 3.37 or -1.37. So those are our roots, right? Those would be where they cross, the parabola would cross on the graph. Okay, let's have you guys try one. Try this one. 4x squared plus 5 equals 10x. Hopefully the first thing you notice is that the 10x and the plus 5 are on the wrong side of the equal sign. If you want to try this on your own, go ahead and pause it. I'm going to keep going through the work that I did. Okay, so I moved them, the 5 over and the 10 over, which made both of them negative. And then I divided the left side by 4. And I was left with x squared so that I didn't have a coefficient, minus 2.5x. And then when I divided 5 by 4, I had -1.25. So -2.5, my b, cut in half is -1.25. That's what goes in my parentheses. When I square it, 1.25, I find the last part of the trinomial, that's c. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other. I have to remember that twin rule. When I try to square root them, I end up with plus or minus 0.56. When I do my cases, for case 1, I solve and get 1.81, and for case 2, I solve and get 0. That, which then both of those become my answer. Okay, one more example. Here we go. First thing I'm going to do, so that I can focus on the first two terms, is move 81. That leaves me with 3x plus 12x equals -66. Then I divide everything by 3. And I get, oh, sorry, this should be squared. I get x squared plus 4x equals -22. So then I take my b and divide by 2, I get 2. So that means in my parentheses, I'm going to have x plus 2 x plus 2. And when I square that to find the last part of my trinomial, I get 4. And whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So I'm going to add 4. Negative 22 and positive 4 is 18. Negative 18. If I simplify this side, x plus 2 squared equals negative 18. Then I square root them. On this side, I get x plus 2. And on the right, I don't get anything because there is no square root of any negative, which means that for this problem, there's no solution. Anytime you have a negative, it cannot be rooted. Okay, today we're going to finish up that worksheet I sent you yesterday. Not the first page, but the second. So finish page 2. We did the top 2, which I think were 13 and 14. So that means you're going to be doing 15 through, I think there were 22. I'll double check these numbers, but finish the second page, okay? Thanks, guys.